Have you ever wondered why your knees started making noises like an old door? No fall, no bump, and no more walking than the day before. Yet every time you stand up, you hear a crack, a dry, repetitive sound, as if your knee joint is warning you about something you haven't quite understood yet. Then there are those mornings when just getting out of bed is a struggle. You put your feet on the floor, but your knees won't cooperate. Your body wants to go, but your legs aren't ready. Have you ever stood still for a few seconds, leaning on the edge of the bed, taking a deep breath to brace yourself just because you no longer feel confident in your own 2 feet? If any of that sounds familiar, then I want you to stay with me for a few more minutes, because what's happening with your knees isn't an inevitable part of aging, and it's certainly not something that can't be improved. I'm a senior health expert in the US, and I've heard stories like that hundreds of times. No one says it directly, but I see the worry in their eyes when they walk into the clinic, a slight tremor in their hands as they sit down, a quick glance at the chair as if asking, "Will I be able to stand up this time?" I'm not promising miracles. I'm not saying you'll be running and jumping like a 20-year-old. But I do know this. A knee joint doesn't break down overnight, and it doesn't need a miracle to move again. It just needs the right intervention, not a lot, but the right one. We won't start with effort, but with understanding, with simple, purposeful movements, specifically designed for legs that have carried you through many years and many ups and downs. I won't reveal them immediately because you need to understand the why before you do the what. But I promise, what's coming next won't just change your knees, it might change how you think about aging. And if I were to ask you this, with just 10 minutes a day, gently, without sweating, without pain, without fear of falling, would you try it just once? If there's even a tiny question mark in your mind, then stick around, because the answer could start right here, in this video, and from your very own legs. There's one exercise I always include in the initial regimen for patients just starting to move again after a long period of inactivity, especially those with knee issues. This exercise isn't new, strange, or complicated, but precisely because of its simplicity, it's often overlooked. I'm talking about a very basic movement, heel slides, or what we in rehabilitation medicine call heel slides. You might be thinking, just sliding my heel, that's it? But let me explain why this seemingly minor movement plays an enormous role in regaining flexibility and lubricating the knee joint, especially for older adults. When you slide your heel along the floor or a bed, your knee is gently stimulated to move within a safe range. During this, something very important happens inside the joint. Synovial fluid, your body's natural lubricant, is activated to produce and circulate around the knee joint. This fluid helps reduce friction, nourishes joint cartilage, and improves the overall smoothness of the entire joint system. According to research from the York Rehab Clinic, heel slides not only help increase range of motion, but also serve as a gentle warm-up before more challenging exercises. They are commonly used for patients after knee replacement surgery, individuals with chronic arthritis, and even those recovering from falls. This means the exercise is suitable even for the weakest individuals. If you can lift your leg just a little, you can start. If you're listening and thinking, "I'm too weak to slide anything," then I invite you to try. Simply lie flat on your bed, keep one leg extended, and slowly pull the heel of your other foot toward your glutes as far as comfortably possible without causing pain. Then slowly extend it back out. Each time you do this, you're both warming up your knee and helping your muscles remember how to contract and extend in coordination. I usually advise my patients to start with 10 repetitions per side, performed slowly without rushing. If you feel comfortable, you can do this 2 to 3 times a day, ideally after waking up, after lunch, and in the evening before bed. One small but very important note: if you feel sharp pain in your knee while sliding, or your body tenses up out of fear of pain, stop. This exercise isn't about forcing it, it's about getting comfortable. Comfort should always be the priority. In knee recovery, patience is a better medicine than any pill I've ever prescribed. A little tip to make it easier to exercise is to use a thin towel or a plastic bag under your heel. This helps reduce friction and makes the movement smoother. Some people also like to do this exercise while wearing socks, sliding on cotton bed sheets. Try a few different ways and see what works best for you. And if you're caring for an older loved one who has been bedridden, inactive for a long time, or recently had knee surgery, this is the ideal starting exercise. Simply help them maintain the rhythm and encourage each gentle bend to facilitate recovery. I know some of you watching might think, is such a simple exercise really enough? The answer is yes, if you view it as the first step of a long journey. No one starts at the top of a hill. People start at the bottom, and heel slides are a great way to take that very first step. I want you to try it today. After this video ends, lie down or sit back on a flat surface and try sliding your heel just once. You don't need to do many. Even a single repetition is fine. How does it feel? Is your knee stiff? Is it comfortable? You can share your experience in the comments section. I'll read and answer every question you might have. And if you're ready for the next step, our second exercise will be when we start building more strength in your knees, not just for flexible bending and straightening, but also for your knees to have enough power to support your body when standing up and sitting down. But first, give your knees time to get used to the movement. Don't rush, we're just getting started. I once asked a former patient of mine, a man in his 70s, what time of day he felt weakest. He looked at me and gave a faint smile the moment I tried to stand up from a chair. That answer isn't uncommon. In fact, it's a very frequent situation that every older adult has experienced. You're sitting, you want to stand up, but your knees hesitate and your thigh muscles just won't cooperate. Some people need to lean on the armrests, some have to count in their heads before they dare to lift themselves, and some start avoiding standing up altogether unless absolutely necessary. I clearly remember a case where an elderly woman told me, "I don't know why, but when I'm sitting I feel fine. But every time I stand up, my knees just don't feel strong enough to support me anymore." That's not because of the bones, as many people think. It's because of the muscles, specifically the quadriceps, which have weakened after years of improper use. When your thigh muscles aren't strong enough, your knees lose their most crucial support. We don't see it with our eyes, but we feel it very clearly in every movement, when standing up from a chair, when stepping down a curb, or simply when trying to maintain balance after stopping suddenly in the middle of a room. The seated knee extension is a simple exercise I often use to send a signal to this muscle group. It's very simple. Sit still, extend one leg straight out, hold for a few seconds, then lower it. That's it. But if you do it regularly, your body will respond. A study published by experts at More Life Health also showed that simply doing this exercise 2 to 3 times a day, about 10 to 15 repetitions each time, can significantly improve a person's ability to stand up and maintain balance after just 4 weeks. No equipment needed, no large space required, and almost anyone can start. I often advise my patients to do this exercise right at the dinner table, while sitting, waiting for tea to cool, or chatting with their children or grandchildren. You just need to remember to keep your back straight without leaning back. Lift your legs slowly, hold for about 3 seconds, then gently lower it. Your breathing should be steady. Inhale as you extend, exhale as you lower. If you feel tired, don't push it, rest. This exercise isn't about exertion, but about consistency. I once saw a patient use a very interesting trick. She'd place a small beanbag on her knee while exercising. "I pretend it's a cookie," she'd say. "If I drop it, I lose my treat." It was a way to practice while having a little joke with herself. Our bodies may age, but our spirits should still be nurtured like that. And like all gentle exercises, the important thing isn't the number of repetitions, but the frequency. You don't need to do a lot in one day. Just do it regularly and give your muscles a chance to wake up gradually. One more small thing I always remind my patients: if you feel your knees are weak, don't just focus on knee exercises. Look higher up: your thigh muscles, hip muscles, even your core. The body is a chain of connections. When one link gets stronger, other parts benefit too. I'm not saying this exercise is everything, but it can be the linchpin for so much. The confidence when you stand up, the small joy of not needing to brace your hand on a table, or simply the feeling, "I can still do it." If you're sitting and watching this video, why not try it right now? Gently lift one leg, hold it steady for a bit, then slowly lower it. How does it feel? Maybe no difference yet. But if tomorrow you do it a few more times, and the day after that, the difference will come, quietly but surely. And when you've started to get comfortable with the movement in the front of your knee, I want to invite you to get familiar with an area many people tend to forget, the back, where every step depends on it. But to explain it better, I'll wait for you in the next section. Here's something that always surprises me. Many older adults who experience wobbliness, weak steps, or sudden buckling in their knees have never considered that the cause might come from the muscles in the back of their thighs. It's something we don't see every day, so we often overlook it. But this forgotten part plays a crucial role in knee stability and the ability to stand steadily. An old man once told me, "I can't stand cooking for even 10 minutes before my back legs shake like they're being electrocuted." He didn't have hip pain or fatigue, but simply standing made his knees feel like they were giving out. After examination, we found that his hamstring muscles, the area at the back of the thigh connecting the pelvis and knee, had significantly weakened. And this is a story I encounter repeatedly with many patients over 60. I taught him a simple exercise that anyone can do, standing knee bends. At first glance, it seems simple enough. Just stand still, lift one foot behind you, gently bend your knee as if you're trying to touch your heel to your glutes, hold for a few seconds, then lower it. But what happens during that movement is more complex than you might think. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin showed in a 2017 study that training the hamstrings through closed chain movements like knee bends can significantly improve knee joint stability in older adults, especially those with a history of mild to moderate osteoarthritis. This study was published in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy and followed 68 individuals aged 62 to 78 after 8 weeks of training. The results showed a marked reduction in knee trembling and imbalance, while the ability to balance on one leg nearly doubled. I'm not telling you this to scare you, but so you know, there's a very real reason behind this simple exercise. It's not just for show, it's based on an understanding of biomechanics and has been validated. Now, if you're standing near a chair, a table, or a stair railing, try it right now. Stand tall, with your hand lightly on the support. Slowly lift one leg behind you, hold for about 3 seconds, then gently lower it. Switch sides. 8 to 12 repetitions per leg is enough for the first session. Don't strain, don't rush, don't cause pain. Just feel the muscles in the back of your thigh starting to work. That's a good sign. Here's a tip I often share. Try this exercise while you're brushing your teeth. You're already standing there and the sink is a perfect support. So why not use those 2 minutes every morning to bend each leg a few times? No extra time, no added schedule, but still more strength. However, there are a few points to note. If you've had falls or have balance issues, start with a more stable support, like a kitchen counter or a heavy table. If you have lower back pain, avoid bending your leg too high, as it can unnecessarily strain your lumbar region, and absolutely do not lift your leg too quickly. Your body doesn't like sudden movements. An old man once told me, "I don't expect to walk as fast as a young man. I just want to step steadily, without fear of falling backward every time I turn to look at my wife." It sounds simple, but I understand that's a heartfelt wish, and this exercise, if done regularly, will bring you closer to that, little by little. We don't need to wait for our bodies to break down before we fix them. Just by sending a small signal to this often forgotten muscle group every day, your body will respond, sometimes even beyond expectation. And as those back muscles start to strengthen, your knees will also feel lighter. Because every time you walk, stand up, or balance, sometimes the important thing isn't what's in front, but what's quietly holding everything steady in the back. In the next section, I'll invite you to experience a different kind of movement, not standing, not bending, but rather sitting and rotating rhythmically, smoothly, like returning to childhood on a bicycle, but much safer and more controlled. If that makes you curious, then don't take your eyes off the screen. I once asked a patient, "Is there anything you used to do daily that you now regret not being able to, just thinking about it?" He didn't hesitate. Morning bike rides. Every time I left the house, I felt alive again. Honestly, that feeling isn't unique. Anyone familiar with the steady, circular motion of the pedals, the soft hum of tires on the road, the cool breeze flowing past their knees, will understand that cycling isn't just exercise, it's a feeling of freedom. And it's truly a shame when your knees start protesting against that. The grinding sounds, the dull aches, or the stiff feeling in your knees every time you press the pedal, it makes many people stop. But then they forget that there's another version of cycling, safer, gentler, and just as effective, stationary cycling. You might be surprised to learn that in a study published on PubMed in 2020, scientists at a Korean university investigated the impact of 8 weeks of stationary cycling on a group of older adults with mild to moderate knee osteoarthritis. The results showed a 31% reduction in pain levels, a 19% increase in flexibility, and most notably, a distinct feeling of lubricated knees after the 4th week. This improvement didn't come from medication, but from consistent, repetitive, non-weight-bearing movement itself. If you've never tried it, I suggest starting with the simplest version. A mini exercise bike, the kind you place right under your desk. You can use it while watching the news or drinking tea. No gym needed, no need to go far. All you need is a chair with back support and some space for your feet. When pedaling, adjust your chair so your knees aren't bent too much. Your heels should lightly touch the pedals. No need to go fast, just keep it steady, like slowly stirring a cup of coffee with a rhythm. Each pedal stroke is a circular motion that circulates joint fluid, helping your knees avoid stiffness after sitting for a long time. I often tell my patients, you can think of stationary cycling as acupuncture without needles for your knee joints, because its effectiveness doesn't come from intensity, but from repetition that's gentle, steady, and long enough. However, there are a few things to keep in mind. If you've recently had joint replacement surgery, consult your physical therapist before starting. If you experience hip pain or a herniated disc, choose a seat height that's just right to avoid spinal flexion. And don't forget to warm up gently beforehand, like rotating your ankles or lightly wiggling your knees so your knees aren't surprised when they start moving. A small tip: choose familiar times to pedal. For example, 10 minutes before lunch or right after watching the evening weather forecast. Your body loves consistency, and good habits are easier to form when tied to a familiar daily activity. And don't worry if you don't see immediate results. The magic isn't in the first day, but in the 3rd or 4th week, when you suddenly realize, hey, I stood up from the chair faster today than yesterday. I'm not saying stationary cycling will change everything, but I believe and have witnessed that it can reopen a door many thought was closed. The ability to move smoothly, without pain, and without fear of your knees going on strike halfway through. And if you're ready to transition from rhythmic circular motion to something deeper, slower, perhaps it's time for your body and mind to move together. In the next section, I'll introduce you to an ancient yet miraculous form of exercise where breath, posture, and relaxation converge. If you've ever heard of Tai Chi, then yes, we're about to step into that. Have you ever felt mentally exhausted just because of your knees? It might sound strange, but think about it for a moment. When you have to walk cautiously, when you have to grab a chair to stand up, or when you have to hold your breath to turn around, it all puts your body in a state of high alert. And that stress gradually seeps into your mind. I once met a retired doctor, a very sharp woman, who shared that lately she'd been losing patience easily simply because every time she changed positions, she had to be as careful as walking on thin ice. I'm not afraid of the pain, she said. I'm afraid of losing my ability to take care of myself. And that's precisely the starting point for something I really want to share with you today. Tai Chi, or as many call it, Tai Chi Quan. This isn't just an exercise, it's a return. When you perform each movement slowly and gently, combining it with steady breathing and focused awareness, your entire autonomic nervous system, the system responsible for the fight or flight response, will be calmed. This not only helps quiet your mind, but also reduces chronic inflammation, a factor that contributes to knee pain and stiffness. A study published in the National Institutes of Health in 2016 demonstrated that regular Tai Chi practice over 12 weeks significantly improved motor function and reduced knee joint pain in older adults with arthritis. Notably, the Tai Chi group not only improved their walking ability but also reported reduced anxiety and enhanced sleep quality, something few other physical exercises achieve. You can imagine Tai Chi as a series of flowing movements, no jerking, no abrupt stops. There are no forceful actions, no difficult poses. Everything is just right. And because of this, it's particularly suitable for weak knees, inflamed joints, or legs that have become accustomed to caution. I once encouraged a retired farmer in Texas to try Tai Chi. At first, he refused. Me, swaying around like that? But after just 2 weeks of practicing with videos every morning, he called back and said, "Ma'am, not only can I sway, but I don't have to sigh when I stand up from a chair anymore." If you've never tried it, start with the basics. You can search YouTube for Tai Chi for seniors or join a community class. Many wellness centers in the US offer free sessions for older adults. Just 2-3 sessions per week, each lasting 30-45 minutes, is enough for your body to feel a difference. But there's one thing you need to remember. Tai Chi isn't just exercise. Don't force yourself to get every posture perfectly right. What's more important is the flow of movement, the coordination of breath, and the feeling of reconnecting with your own body. If your knees tremble a bit, slow down the pace. If you feel dizzy, stop and rest. Tai Chi has no standard level, only a suitable level. Here's a small tip I often recommend. Choose some gentle instrumental music to play while you practice. It could be the sound of a stream, birds chirping, or slow classical music. Sound is a wonderful invisible guide, helping your body fall into rhythm more naturally. Tai Chi offers your knees something few people consider: the feeling of being heard, not through a crack or a dull ache, but through each slow step, each gentle turn, each quiet minute. And sometimes that very silence is the loudest voice of recovery. And when you start to feel that each step is no longer a burden, each time you stand up is no longer an obstacle, then Tai Chi won't just help your knees move better, it will also help your mind feel lighter. We've covered 5 exercises, each with a different role and benefit, but results won't come from a single movement. They'll come from the right combination for the right person at the right time. If you're feeling ready to look back at this entire journey, to know where to start, which exercises to choose, and how to keep your knee joints feeling heard, then the next section is where we'll summarize, suggest a path, and provide enough deep motivation to start tomorrow. After those 5 exercises, you might be asking yourself, where should I even start? The answer doesn't actually lie in the order of the exercises. It lies within your own body and the question, how do I feel today? If your knees are stiff in the morning, think about gentle movements like heel slides. If you often feel your knees are weak or unstable when you walk, then the standing knee bends are well worth repeating. If you haven't moved consistently in a while, just 10 minutes a day of stationary cycling can be enough to rekindle the feeling of movement. And if you're looking for a way to move while also calming your mind, Tai Chi is the deep breath you can start anywhere, in your garden, in your living room, or even within yourself. All of these exercises share a single goal: to help you regain a sense of control over your own 2 feet, not to walk super fast or go really far, but so you no longer have to hesitate every time you stand up, no longer have to tiptoe each step on familiar stairs. The remarkable thing is, you don't need to do everything at once. Sometimes, just one exercise done correctly and consistently for a few weeks is enough to make a difference. An elderly gentleman once told me, "I only do one exercise every morning, but now I don't have to stop halfway when climbing the stairs anymore." That's the power of focusing on what your body needs most. And remember, these movements aren't isolated. Every time you bend your knee, extend your leg, turn your body, breathe slowly, you're sending a message. I'm still here, and I'm still active. Your knees hear that, your muscles hear it, and over time, your spirit responds with trust in your own body. What I hope you take away from this video isn't a long list of must-dos, but a gentle feeling that taking care of your knees and yourself isn't complicated or out of reach. It can start today with a small movement, a simple decision, and a very gentle commitment. I will listen to this body more. And if you still have any concerns, please ask questions, share your feelings, because your experience, not just the exercises, is the most important part of this recovery journey.